Today I want to talk with you about three very important ingredients that I'm using almost into each recipe. It's coconut butter, coconut oil, and cacao butter. And if you are quite new in raw cuisine, in making raw desserts, it probably can be a little bit complicated for you to understand what is the difference. Sometimes my students ask me, they even don't feel the difference, they don't know the difference, and that's why they can buy just one ingredient, try to use it in the whole recipe, and they receive totally different result than it should be here. That's why I decided to talk with you about the difference. And we're going to start talking about coconut butter and coconut oil. What is the difference? Can we substitute one to another, and how we should to use them into the raw cakes? Always when we need a coconut oil, we need to buy extra virgin organic coconut oil. Depends on the temperature in the store or in your kitchen. The texture can be white solid, or it can be like a water, clear and liquefied. And this is totally okay for this ingredient, and it can happen that you bought your jar with coconut oil at store and it has like white consistency and it doesn't going out, and when you come home, it is summer for example, and your coconut oil becoming liquefied. It's okay, the product is perfect. This is a state of coconut oil that can be changed, depends on the temperature. Coconut butter. Coconut butter you can find in the store under the name coconut butter or coconut manna, but it's almost, I would say it's the same ingredient. Sometimes it depends on the amount of fat that contains in butter or manna. I think that butter has bigger fat content, but it doesn't matter, we can use both of these ingredients. What is the difference first to understand? So coconut oil is cold pressed extracted from the coconut meat. It's 100% medium chain fatty acid. At the same time, coconut butter is also medium chain fatty acid, but it also contains fiber. And why it happened? Because coconut butter we make from shredded coconut. So from the meat of coconut that it was dried, and we do not extract it. So we just blend shredded coconut like we do it with almonds, with peanuts, and we receive coconut butter. So when you hear that it's coconut butter, just compare it with almond butter, with any other nut or seed butter. And coconut oil, you can compare like with olive oil. So it's totally different ingredients. How can we use it into the raw cakes? First of all, both of these ingredients should be used in room temperature. I mean that it should be liquefied, it should be warm. Right now, both of them have a hard texture, and that is not what we need for our cakes. And I want to show you how we need to prepare these ingredients for our recipes. Let's start with coconut oil. It will be faster. It is melting very fast, and we have two options how to make it liquefied. We can use a double boiler method, and we also can use microwave, and just 10-15 seconds will be enough to make it liquefied. Let's do both and you will see the difference. We can put just 1 tablespoon of solid coconut oil and put it on top of the double boiler. Main thing that the bottom of your top bowl shouldn't touch the water inside of your bottom pan or maybe bowl. At the same time, let's prepare some coconut oil for melting into the microwave. So that's it. You should understand one thing. So right now we do not measure the amount of coconut oil that is required in our recipe. Now we just melting some amount of coconut oil into the clear form. While we will be waiting for our double boiler, we melt it into the microwave. So I put only 15 seconds for this amount of coconut oil. And let's see what happened here. So there is no steam right now, so we just need to wait a little bit. And here you are. We had 15 seconds. You can see right now that it is not completely melted, so we have a little bit of white spots inside of our coconut oil. You can just stir it. And here you are. So only this consistency you should use into raw cakes and tarts, into the raw recipes. So when you see that we need to pour like 100 milligrams, 150 milligrams of coconut oil, it is always should be like here. And now, for example, we melted some coconut oil and we need just 50 milligrams. We need another cup with measurement, and we need to pour 50 milligrams of coconut oil. It means that right now we're ready to pour this coconut oil, 50 milligrams, that is required for our recipe, into our high-speed blender, into the jar of our high-speed blender. And let's see what happened with our double boiler. I will decrease the temperature of our oven, because I see that it is becoming more transparent. It is ready to go. This is what we need. It is became like clear, and we can remove it from the double boiler. This is our coconut oil. So now we know how to prepare coconut oil for our recipe. Let's go to coconut butter. The coconut butter, it's a 60% of fat and 40% of fiber. Coconut butter we can melt only using double boiler method. If you put it into the microwave, there is a chance that you burn our coconut butter. So that's why I usually use only double boiler method. So when you open your coconut butter, you can see some oil on top of the butter. That is totally okay. And even when you make your own coconut butter from shredded coconut, it will be the same. So oil will be separated from the butter and you will have just a little bit of oil. You can mix it all together. We can use both oil, separated oil and butter, but right now we need only butter. That's why I want to go a little bit deeper and find only butter. The butter more creamy than oil. It is thicker, so you can see that it's totally different texture. It seems soft, and again depends on the temperature. It can be hard like a stone, or if it's more warm it is becoming softer, and we want to make it more softer. I want it like it's a warm spread that can be go down from the bowl by itself. Coconut butter is a nut-free alternative for those who have nut allergies. So if you see that somebody make peanut butter toast but you have allergies to peanuts, try coconut butter. It is naturally sweetened, and I usually use it like one of the main ingredients for keto cakes, for those cakes that require a sugar-free option. And because of it is natural sweeteners inside, I don't need to put a lot of stevia or monk fruit in the cake. So here you are. This is what we needed. This is what I wanted to tell you. So again, we had this texture and we received this texture. And now you can see the main big difference between coconut butter and coconut oil. Coconut oil, it's 100% of oil, and you can use it when you're making when you're frying your pancakes, for example. And here is coconut butter that is always white, and it has totally different function. And when you have a recipe that is require coconut oil, you can't substitute coconut oil to coconut butter, and you can't substitute coconut butter to coconut oil. This is very important. Great, we talk about the last ingredient, and that is cacao butter. You probably understand that cacao butter has nothing similar to any coconut ingredients. Cacao butter usually comes in such hard form. It smells like a chocolate. It's main ingredient for chocolate. And when you see the recipe, it is usually when you see the recipe with cacao butter, you usually can see that it is written how many grams of cacao butter you need, not milligrams. For coconut oil, we usually use milligrams. For coconut butter, grams. For cacao butter, also grams. How can we measure it? Let's say that your recipe requires 30 grams of cacao butter. We need to find the bowl and measure 30 grams of hard type of cacao butter. We can start from big pieces, like this. Not yet. Okay. What we do next? For faster melting, we need to chop our cacao butter into very small pieces. In this case, it will be melted evenly, you will not burn it, and it will save your time very, very much. Then we pour it back into the bowl. And we need to melt it again using double boiler method. With cacao butter, you can try to use your microwave. You need to heat the bowl by pulses with like 15-30 seconds timer. I know that it's very easy to burn your cacao butter, so that's why I personally prefer only double boiler method for melting my cacao butter. Also, usually for cakes, for desserts, you require quite small amount of cacao butter, so it's probably faster to make such small water bath. And while you preparing all other ingredients, measure your nuts, your cacao, any other things, it will be melted. So, and you can see what happened right now with this bowl. When you put it into the microwave, there is a big chance that you burn this small amount of cacao butter. Stir it and you will see how fast it will be melted. Decrease your temperature when you see a lot of steam. So this is what we need. And just stir it. So you can see that it is becoming quite transparent, but it has yellow color. If coconut oil has clear color, so our cacao butter has yellow clear color. We have 3 very important ingredients for any vegan cakes. We have coconut oil, coconut butter, and cacao butter. As I told you, we can't substitute coconut oil to coconut butter and vice versa. However, we have substituted coconut oil to cacao butter and cacao butter to coconut oil, but not always, not in each recipe, and depends on what texture do you want to receive as the result. For example, if you make raw chocolate, any chocolate, you can't use coconut oil instead of cacao butter. Why? Because cacao butter has a very hard texture, final texture of the product. As you know, if you take your chocolate, it is not melting into your hands. Coconut oil will be melting. So if you use coconut oil in the recipe of a chocolate, you will receive, I would say, a fudge, but not a chocolate. And if you have a recipe with a cake that is require coconut oil, but you want to put cacao butter, expect that the texture will be not so soft and not so creamy. The texture will be more hard. And also, cacao butter has a very bright chocolate flavor, and sometimes you don't need it. At the end, I want to tell you that coconut oil and cacao butter can be substituted to each other, but depends on the recipe and the texture that you want to receive at the end. And probably I do not recommend you to substitute it just because you don't want to go to store. Now I hope you understand the difference, and let's go forward and make something delicious using these ingredients.